All right. Angular. Every once in a while, I see posts on social media asking about how to start with Angular. Now, there is the angular.dev website, and there's a nice playground. Every major framework out there has a playground or tutorial section, and they're a great place to start learning. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I start a new project and start scaffolding out my components. So we're going to dig right in. Open your favorite editor of choice. For me, it's going to be VS Code. We can ignore what we have here for now. We're going to start a new project using NX. So npx nx create NX workspace at latest. And you can provide your project name. And this is assuming you have Node and everything else installed. So we're going to continue. It's going to scaffold out. This can scaffold out a bunch of other types of apps, but we're going to use Angular. I like to use an integrated monorepo. This allows me the flexibility of creating multiple projects if I want to. You don't have to, of course, but the flexibility is nice. NX starter and ESBuild is new, but we're going to use it. SAS and server-side rendering. We're going to use no for now. Playwright and this. Oh boy, we're going to skip the CI stuff for now. Remote caching, nope. We're not really going to dig into any of those previous selections. Just know that most of those remote services are offered by NX, and they can help you speed up your builds, but I think you need some sort of subscription for that, so we're going to skip. Depending on your connection speed, this may take some time. There we go. Once it's generated, you can cd into your project. We called it NX starter, so let's cd into it. And you should be able to see the project files that have been created. We're going to open it in the current workspace. If you have VS Code, this code command is not enabled by default. I'll show you how to enable that. So if you go to your commands, I believe it's at install. No. Do I? Okay. So it's the caret, not the caret. This is the greater than. Greater than install code. Install what? It's called? Derp code. Where is it? Reinstall extension? No. Install from VSX. Install Playwright. Install extension. VS Code. Install command in pat. It's probably because I already did it, so you'll have to use the shell command. I wonder if I can still see it though. I should be able to see the uninstall command, right? So Command Shift P or Control Shift P. Should bring up the menu again. Shell. Interesting. What the heck? Okay, whatever. Anyway, so if you haven't installed it, you should be able to find this command in the background here. Haha. Cool. Let's keep going. All right. We have the project. Oh, it's already installed as well, so that's why it took so long. Let's open a terminal. And here we can start the project. So when it first scaffolds, it doesn't actually add the ng serve or nx serve. It's kind of annoying. So sure. This auto completion comes from Codium. It's a free AI code companion that you can install with VS Code. So let's see if this works. I think you may need to provide a app name. So next starter. Let's see if this works. Okay, cool. So that took us about 5 minutes, and let's go to localhost 4200, and this is your NX starter. Easy peasy, right? We're going to also start learning about how to use some of the extensions that are available for NX. So let's look for NX console. So this I already have installed, and this is what's going to allow us to quickly scaffold components and libraries and applications. Okay, so once you have it installed, I already have it installed, so you can see that there's a new tab that gets created. It's this N logo. We're going to click on it, and you can see that it recognizes the projects that we already have in this current workspace. I'm not going to keep these guys open. Usually don't touch these. What we're looking for is just this generate. And it's going to open this list of schematics that NX has built into the extension. And we're looking to use the library one. And you can quickly... Library. Whoa, don't misspell it. So we're going to create an NX library. And this will give us an opportunity to fill out a bunch of things. So where do you want to create this library? Once you start typing, you can see that it starts running a bunch of commands. Don't worry, it's not going to finalize the command until you click the generate button. It also has this nice warning here. So I'm not going to worry about that for now. Since this is a new project, it's going to warn you about uncommitted changes. But let's finish off this. What can we call it? Tailwind. Sure, why not? Do I want to call it Tailwind? Nah. I already have something for Daisy components. You may have saw earlier in the clip that we had a different project open, so I'm just gonna start recreating some of that. So going to make it buildable, publishable, compilation mode, change detection. Ideally, your components are set to on push, since they most likely will be, well, if you're building reusable components, that is, they should be set to on push notification. I'm going to do that for now. Import path. Now, this is where you're going to be publishing. Do you want to be publishing? Well, that's a question you'll have to have with your architect, I guess. What I would do is I would make it publishable, and then we would have it published to our internal org's npm repo. But you can also create your own public repos. So we'll just do something like that for now. You may want to check if this path exists or is available in npm. So if you're not publishing to your internal NX, or not NX, internal repository, then you should check if the namespace that you provide here is available on npm.js. So let's move on. Most of these are optional. I think the only things that we want to set is these options that we've already selected. So now that we've done that, you can see that these are the files that it's going to create and where it's going to create it at. At the very top, we provide the directory and the library name. The library name in this case is going to end up being Daisy. So whatever is after the last slash here. All right. After clicking generate, you should see that if you are using Git, that these new files have been generated and some of the existing files have been modified with the new entry. Okay, and that's the beauty of the NX extension, is it does a bunch of these things for you, and you don't have to think about if you've missed a particular configuration change. One thing I do want to check, this guy likes to add additional entries for JSON. And it looks like it's added just this one entry for JSON for now, so I think we're okay. But if you run the generate command again, it may end up creating another section for JSON, so something to watch out for. I don't know if they fixed that, but that is something that I had to do in the older versions. All right. So we've created a new component library. How do we use it? Right, Daisy works. Let's just import it in our app component. App HTML. So we have the welcome component and the router outlet. This was all generated by NX. So we're going to go to the welcome component and maybe start cleaning this up. Or maybe we can just get rid of it altogether. This is a lot of boilerplate, so we're just going to get rid of it and remove the reference from our app HTML. I do want to see what our selector is for this component. It's going to be libdaisy. Okay. So we're going to start using libdaisy. All right, and it says it's not a known element. So starting from Angular 14, we had the opportunity to use standalone components, and the newer versions all default to that. So let's interesting. So standalone is default. So I believe when we scaffolded it, it scaffolded it with Angular 19. Let's just double check that. It is. So starting in 19, we're going standalone as a default. And since we've already deleted this welcome component, we're going to clean that up. And also this guy. But we also need to import our Daisy component, right? Daisy component. All right. So we should see a, what is it? What's it called? Daisy is working? What's it? Daisy works in our localhost. Cool. So that is step one of starting a new project. Usually we would like to group features by route. So in the next episode, we'll start working with routes, and we'll probably start moving more stuff into routes instead of just slapping it in app component. Yeah, that's the only thing that should be in the app component is your layout. You may not even want to do that. If you have a global layout, sure, you can have it here. But if you, for some reason, have different layouts based on route, then you may want to have something specified in your route, or even based on feature. So we'll take a look at doing that next time around. Redirect to Daisy. Yeah, so if you wanted to, why do I keep saying next time around? Are we gonna keep going? Let's keep going. It's only been, what, 20 minutes? All right, so if we create a redirect like this, this is one of the features of Angular, is Angular routing. If you create a redirect, well, you're going to have to have that route available as well. So path daisy, and then it loads daisy module. This is old stuff. I don't think there's a... How would you do this in the... Ew. I think we would import... Yeah, this one doesn't have routing enabled, right? So... And since this is a library, it doesn't have routes. So let's not do that. Let's actually scaffold. All right. Episode 2 starts here. We're going to commit all this previous stuff. Create library with NX. All right. Now we have a clean history for our next commit. And let's reopen NX console. All right. I do want to create something for myself. I'm going to create a calendar. Routing. We wanted to enable routing, right? So let's enable routing. And it can be lazy. Yeah, we'll make it a lazy route, sure. So what does lazy mean? Lazy routing in Angular means you're separating out this package into a different artifact. When your app loads the initial route, it's not going to know about this calendar route that we're going to load at a later time. So the initial package size for your application is smaller, and this will lead to a quicker load time for your application. You'll want to do lazy loading for various parts of your application that aren't visible to the user on load of your landing page. So for my calendar component, calendar routes, I'm going to make it lazy loaded just so that we have that concept under our belt. I'm wondering if I need to enable buildable for this. Probably not. So let's go forward with it. I'm not going to publish the component library. That's not a component. I'm not going to publish the calendar component. So let's just skip that. Add tailwind. I guess you could add tailwind here. Oh. Configure tailwind CSS. I'll do a separate lesson for that. Skip tests. Selector. Actually, if we look at what it's going to give us, I think we should be okay with this starter. So let's look at just generating it like so. All right, change detection. I can always, you know what? I don't need to have the default change detection. Inline template, linter, prefix. If you want to change your component selector, you can specify it here. So let's just calendar. So the initial component that's generated will have this daisy dash, and all subsequent components generated in the same library under libs calendar will have daisy dash as well. So that's something that you can do to simplify the configuration process. So I'm going to click generate. And it generates our components. Oops, I forgot to change that to SCSS. But we can always just change it up ourselves. So go ahead, rename this to SCSS. Yeah, well, let's see if this can be routed to. As you can see, there is a routes folder, routes file for the generated library, and it adds the component that we just generated. So let's see if we can lazy load this module. Do we want to? No, right? Let's not have this redirect, right? Let's have our component as app component, right? App component. That is our default route. App root. No. The app root's always going to be there. It doesn't need to be routed to, does it? Yeah, actually it doesn't need to be routed to. All right, let's create a home component so that we have something to route to by default. Okay, so we're going to go to NX console again, and we're going to click generate. This time we're going to generate a component. And I think if we just say home, it should understand, right? No? Okay. Where is the project? Export? No, right? Where's the project selector? Path. If you want to do it straight from NX console, you do have to specify the path explicitly. I remember there used to be a project selection dropdown, but they seem to have removed it in this version. So you'll just have to say apps/NX starter. And yeah, it's not gonna like it until you've fully qualified the path of the component. So this is where it gets a little finicky. You probably just want to do it one of the other ways because, well, do you really want to specify this full path? Because it looks like I got that wrong as well. I need to add app/home before it creates it in the app folder. And you may even want to create it in a subfolder for home to group everything. So I wonder if it did that in the other methods. So let's take a look at the other method and see if it generated a subfolder for us. Component. Close this again. Creates app home. No, okay, so it just dumps it all into the app folder. Not ideal. I wonder if we can just do something like that. Yeah, okay. So it's a lot easier. It understands the context of where we're running the, yeah, so that's the context here. Working directory, apps, route. Cool. So let's create this component, and it already understands to use SCSS because that's what's been specified somewhere else already, I suppose. Yeah, inline language, SCSS. Probably another place for that. No? Okay. All right, I'm going to click generate. And it has generated in a subfolder. So we're going to route to that first instead of home component, instead of app component. I'm going to clean up our imports. And now lazy load path. Oh, no. Right, so it needs to be. And then we're going to import. That is not the right auto completion, my good sir. Load component? No, load children. I wonder. Annex starter. Okay, so it's starting to look a little. Is that what it is? In. It's not calendar module, it's route. So lib dot calendar routes. All right. Cool. So let's explain this a little bit. Where do we get this from? Remember back in the generation phase. Ah, okay. So we just generated the calendar, so you haven't seen what it added in the TS config. So this is where it's from. I'll show you this side by side. It added a new line for NX starter and our calendar. And this points to the calendar library. All right. So back in our app routes, that's how it understands that there is this lazy loaded module. And if I command click, control click, sorry, command click if you're on Mac though. So, so that's how it knows to route here when I control click it. And this is where TypeScript shines, right? It understands that link back in our app module routes to lazy loads our calendar components over here. So that's one thing working. Let's actually create some navigation to our calendar. So for now, we're going to just spit something out here. Let's create a nav, and it's going to have router link equals calendar. right, and we should add one for home as well. Hello. Whoa, what are you doing? Why is it doing that? Home. What? Oh my god. Do I have it on insert? Interesting. Oh. What is going on there? Alright, Codium. Oh, the home route is actually not home, but just empty. So reset that. Yeah, so the default route with no path should load our home component. And calendar will lazy load our calendar component. So let's see this working. We should be able to see these two. What am I doing? These are actually A tags. Okay. So something super basic right now. Let's see if it shows on our page. We have Daisy and it works. We have home and it works. And we have our lazy loaded calendar and that works. Cool. All right. So this could have been a little quicker, but you know what? If you're just starting out, this may have taken even longer. So I hope this has helped. And we'll keep building this out. Peace.